Welcome to another episode of the Mr. Therapist and the Counselor podcast. And our goal with this show, with this podcast, is to show people what safe and authentic conversations look like through the conversations we have here. Jesse O.
Time sessions today with the Mr. Therapist and myself, Jesse O. Here we go.
Jesse, what's up, man? How you doing?
What's going on? Here we go. The intro's pretty hot. We never talk about the music on that intro.
Oh yeah, that is hot.
The world famous Gonzo Fiction.
Yeah, who is that band?
They were really big back in my day. So
Yeah.
We'll talk about Gonzo Fiction at another time. So
Look them up. Make sure you look up Spotify, Gonzo Fiction.
Gonzo Fiction.
You might recognize the voice.
Very nasally, but very talented
Mouth
as well.
breather. Mouth breather.
Call me a mouth breather?
breather.
This episode just got raunchy. Man.
Oh, God.
We're going to have to mature audiences only, I guess, right? So
I feel a little bit different without our third, man, our camera guy.
that's right. So what do you we got a look going on today, right?
Yeah, we do. What is this? Hawaii? No?
No, it's not. We're in San Clemente, right? So I don't know what's going
It's
on.
like flowery.
But today, so the episode we're trying to do is this: time sessions. Our time has already started, so we're gonna get it going here, just like it was. Like if you're in an individual session with a therapist, with a counselor, social worker, whoever you're working with, and we're gonna get the process on of what it looks like to be in a session room. So all jokes aside, let's get right into it, right? Yeah. So I know you need to start off with something.
I do.
That's gonna make this party pop.
All right.
Okay.
So I just wanted to bring this up.
This is very relevant too of what's going on in our world.
It is.
Yeah.
It is, and it's really something that not a lot of people are talking about, and we got to make sure that we do.
Yeah.
So I was in the car the other day with my family. We were going somewhere, and the wife and
Secretive. Where were you going?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Come on.
I mean, it was probably Pizza
Ralph's
Port.
okay, there
It
we
was
go.
probably
okay.
Pizza
yeah.
Port.
That's a good call. Makes sense. Keep going.
And the wife and my daughter, they control the music in the car, right? And so, we play the hits. We were playing Barbie Girl. I'm a Barbie girl.
It's by a band
Barbie
called
world.
Aqua. It came out in the 90s. I know this because I know way too much unimportant things. So Aqua, Barbie Girl.
And my daughter's singing it, and my wife is singing it, and I'm listening to the lyrics, and I'm like, these lyrics are very sexualized. And it was just it made me very uncomfortable. And I asked my wife, like, what's going on? Like, do you listen to what these lyrics are saying?
What was your wife's reaction to this?
She didn't really, think about it, I think.
Right.
She loves, the music, the
Yeah.
beat. And then we talked about it. She's like, yeah, we got to be careful with what we introduce our children to.
Yeah, I guess, that's kind of something we don't really put a lot of thought into it. I thought about one day at some point in time, I'll probably be playing, a lot of my music has cursing in it. And I know there's edited versions. I always thought what my daughter will hear, she'll probably mock. And I have to be very aware of it. Not something I have to worry about right now, but yeah, that's...
Cursing is different though than sexualized lyrics.
Well,
if you look up the lyrics for Barbie Girl,
yeah.
they're pretty
which you probably have looked over and over and over and over again, which I know that you have them down right now. So if you want to do a soliloquy or just read it as a poem, you can. I know you could probably just spit it out. No, but you're saying it's over sexualized.
It is. So I don't know. I think
do you
we
feel
gotta
like
be careful.
Do you feel like you're reading way too much into it?
No, I don't.
No?
I feel like what I feel like is that realizing how sexualized. This is the first time I think I've felt oh wow, that song is too I've
too
never
much.
had that experience before.
Right.
I've usually I've listened.
You
to,
love sexy songs.
Yeah, I'm Eminem. He's not sexy, but he's I'm usually into explicit music, and I'm not a shy or hide away from those explicit songs.
Yeah.
But I think I'm getting this dad experience right now where I'm wanting to just protect my daughter from these
I have to ask you. So, what was like the line that really stood out to you that bothered you the most? Come on, there, because I know the.
I know the exact line.
All right, will you just put it out there? You don't have to be in like you know.
I think it's so Barbie goes like you can like touch me here, undress me everywhere, or something like that.
Yeah.
I think that's what was like. Wait a minute.
Okay, the touch me part, I could see that. So maybe just kind of throwing me off there for a loop. So.
Yeah. So look up the lyrics. It's kind of crazy. But what it really does though. When you say like you think you're overreacting, I don't think I'm overreacting, but I think like it challenges us to be like, dang, like so what are we gonna show our daughter? Like what? Because I like music that like isn't appropriate. The Dr. Dre songs, the Eminem songs, the Snoop Dogg songs. Despacito. Come on, like that's so I like those songs. They have good
Wait, that's
beats.
inappropriate. That song?
I don't know. I'm just saying. Gasolina is inappropriate though.
Gasolina.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So, but like, there's these songs that sound good, or songs from my childhood that or my upbringing, that I don't know. Now I'm like evaluating. Like, do I really want my daughter to be singing this stuff? Like.
I share.
Do you think I'm overreacting?
No, I mean I don't. I really don't. I'm not gonna say that you're overreacting. Yeah. I'm sure that you just want to be protective and be aware. And like, I'm guessing though your daughter has an innocence, so she's hearing it not like that way at all. It's more just a fun song. Yeah, so you could be overanalyzing it a little bit. I shared this story with you, and to kind of wrap up this conversation. But I remember, and I'm really gonna. Share my age right now, but I remember being in the back of a car with my mom and my dad. I think we were driving on the freeway, and I remember this song by George Michael came on called "I Want Your Sex," and I had no idea what sex was at the time. I was pretty sure I was like in elementary school, but like he repeats the line like "I want your sex," or says it over and over and over again. And I think it was just a fun song. And George Michael was the shit in the 80s, okay, like late 80s, early 90s. No, it was late 80s. But like I just was singing it. I had like no care in the world. I didn't know what Yeah. I mean, I knew what Adam and Eve was maybe, but like the Get Down, I don't know anything about that. Yeah,
it was your first introduction to it.
I think the whole sex thing, but I remember my mom like turning that off and like we're not gonna have that in the car, and I just remember being disappointed because that song was fun.
Yeah, that's probably what my daughter felt when we turned it off.
Yeah, maybe like she probably obviously she didn't put any.
She doesn't understand what it is, but like I don't know. Is there a message that we're sending her, allowing us to all sing it together in the car on the way to pizza?
Are you gonna let her go see the Barbie movie?
I mean, we've taken her to a couple movies, but no, probably not. We're not signing up for that right now. I don't know. We just don't do it. That's like maybe when it comes out, fair. she could watch it. I don't know.
That's all good. Yeah, I don't really have any deep questions on that one. So our intention with this podcast this week is and moving forward and together is just what we go through the week, how we process it, how that would look like for somebody sitting, like I said, in a session room. So we kind of talked about, we started to introduce this idea on one of the more recent podcasts, but I know there's something you wanted to talk about. We started to touch on a little bit, something that you had experienced, and if you wouldn't mind like taking the mic and going with it right now.
Yeah, no, you asked me about like, because you saw a post of mine talking about an experience I had with my dad. I think I'll start off just by saying that like, the more that I've gone through this journey of like getting to know myself and working on myself, the more I've realized just like how I don't know, for lack of a better word, like how fucked up I can think, right? Yeah. No, I'm not like putting myself down or anything, but
that's good.
Like I go through experiences of depression and feeling insecure and feeling bad, and I don't think I've ever accepted it to the level that I have until recently. And so this was part of what had happened, and I went through like a really like about a week of depression of like just, and the challenges that entrepreneurship brings like puts me there sometimes if I'm not careful. So we did like an IG live, me, you, and the Modern Macho and
Juan Carlos,
and we talked about self-worth, and it was a timely discussion for me because it just helped reinforce just some of the maybe reasons or the underlying causes of why I feel depressed when I do, being not really valuing myself as a person, right? Seeing myself as less than. And I just remember like before we went on that live, dude, I was like not right before, but like hours before, I was just feeling so down. I was like, I needed to talk to someone, and I had no one to talk to. My wife had gone to work. My kids, you know, they went to school, and I had no one to like. I felt like I had no one to turn to. For the very first time, I felt this pressure of like, I don't want to talk to anybody about this because I don't want to burden them with this. And I remember so many clients talking about that or sharing that with me. And the first time that I could actually like feel that, right? That deeply anyway. So I called my dad. I was like, I just need to talk to someone and call someone because this isn't good that I just keep this to myself.
Do you usually call your dad on like different things?
No.
Like, no. Okay, so just a random thought, like I'm going to call my pops right now.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Just because I just need to call someone. My wife's at work, can't pull her from work, you know? So I talked to my dad and I let him know how I was feeling. And, you know, he just listened and did the best he could to be there for me. I felt better after crying it out and whatnot, and we did the live. And after that, I had a long day. I went home to talk to him, and he was really worried about me. So he gave me a hug, and he's like, you know what? I've been doing some talks with my parents, with my family, with my brothers around mental health and emotional well-being.
Your dad's been talking to you? Oh, wow.
After my grandma passed away, he one of his promises to her was that he was going to help the family get closer because they don't talk that much. He's got 8 siblings, or he's one of 8. And he's like, we've been doing talks about emotional well-being, mental health, forgiveness, stuff like that. And he's like, and honestly, I had no idea what I was going to talk about today, but like you inspired me by calling me and you softened up my heart enough to talk to my family about just the way we treat ourselves, you know? And he's like, and then you got me thinking like, you know, there's so many times that I remember not knowing how to handle like being frustrated with you and saying things like, are you stupid? Are you dumb? Are you this? And those are the exact messages that like I give myself whenever I try to be creative or I don't believe in myself. And I didn't even really know that like I needed to hear that from him. I didn't go looking for that or anything like that. It was just wild in my head how like I had that conversation with him and it was so healing for me to hear. And we just kind of embraced each other, gave him a hug, and yeah, like fucking cried like a baby, like on his shoulders. It was insane and it was very needed. It was wild though. Like it was really like an amazing experience for me.
That's really that shows the lengths of like somebody coming like a long way. It's encouraging to see somebody like can do that after I don't know, we get tied into like just being old school or culturally, all those things, but like the fact that your dad like, yeah, that's really, really impressive, I would say.
I think so too. Like the more I think about it, like, yeah, he's Mexican. He comes from traditional values. Like his parents never did this with him, you know? So yeah, the amount of digging he's doing to like work on himself and work on his family, it's crazy.
That's super encouraging. One of the concepts I had to talk about for my week, the process was about change. And I was watching Ted Lasso, the finale, and I'm not going to give away any spoilers, but like there was a question about change on it too. And I thought, and like one person like said people never change, and some people like, yes, people can change. It a good like fluid scripted television conversation on change. But it was once again one of those little tidbits that I held on to, and it was throughout the week. I was like the idea of change because that's a current theme throughout like my life. Yeah. But to hear that your dad like that's a change in a person. That really shows like
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he must have done some growth and reflecting before that day, but because for him to get to that level to like apologize to me for that stuff, like that was, I think maybe there just wasn't the forum or the situation to share that and communicate it with me. But yeah.
That's cool. I think it's also just like it shows that like you and your father like can get better. I think maybe on the other side of it, like I'm at peace with my father in our relationship, I would say. But a lot of times it bothers me, it throws me off when I see that like there's a lot of things he hasn't changed. And just to have like you have this role model present. We talked about Father's Day recently too, and just being a new father.
Yeah.
So that to have like that, almost like a reintroduction of like what a father figure could be, like that's got to be really like exciting for you. having kids, him being a grandfather. Shit, I'm a little jealous. No, seriously.
Well, yeah, 'cause, I mean, I'm not the only one. A lot of people have these issues, and yeah, a lot of times like you're doing stuff like empty chair or sort of.
What's that?
It's like, yeah, where you kind of like put your dad in a chair to work through some of the unfinished business that happened in your relationship.
It's like a therapy technique, right? Yeah, so just for our viewers, right?
Yeah. And so, yeah, you're right. Like, not a lot of people get the opportunity to actually have a moment like that, either because maybe their parent's deceased now or just because, there's no room for that type of conversation in the family. So it's beautiful. It's like I don't take it for granted at all, like that I had that moment, Yeah.
I've been looking for like I continue to look for role models that are males for like throughout my life and throughout my existence. So
like older guys or like any men?
I think it's I had a conversation with somebody recently, like, do I feel more am I more allowing women to come in than men? And I wouldn't say that's the case. I feel like probably more comfortable with women, as like I've probably talked with a lot of people that are men. Like, like a lot of times I'll see guys will be like, I'd rather work with a woman therapist than a male therapist. I can't like compare. I can compare my experience, but I would say like a lot of times I just grew up with a mom and with my two sisters, so it's just more comfortable the surrounding. But like, no, I guess I've looked for character, maybe older guys sometimes. I'm like looking for older dudes just to be my daddy, but like it's just but like I thought about summertime. I have this tradition every year. I get a coconut cream pie, and it just reminds me of a time in my life where I met this guy, and he was like, I remember him. It was, truth be told, like I'm working in the field. He's a client, and he worked on like the railroad system. Like there's a program I work for had a bunch of railroaders, right? And at the time I wasn't sober. Like I wasn't like, I was kind of faking the funk in this anyways. I wasn't really like practicing what I was preaching with these clients. That could be a story for another time on the podcast. But I remember this guy, just like he had a presence, he had a character about him, he was caring, like and I just remember just like seeing like, I don't know, I probably have to have more time to kind of establish or talk about like what it means to have that male role model, but but there was just something about him. And I brought the coconut cream pie because I remember he said to me like, he's like, Jesse, smart people eat coconut cream pie. And we were sitting there having a coconut cream pie, and I was like encouraging to hear like a compliment from a male. And not that my father, I don't have a history of him like putting me down.
Right.
It's just a lot of it he wasn't present for me. So, but the fact that somebody was there, present, and also giving me like affirmations of like, wow, you see me as a smart person, like, wow, yeah. So like, so
it's you see value in me, or you see, that's
so anytime anytime I have coconut cream pie, I feel like I probably say this is like, smart people eat coconut cream pie.
I love that, dude. Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, but I mean, to solidify, we have that need though, like from our parents to reinforce who we are and validate us and like love us, right? And so, you made the joke about daddy issues, but recreating a relationship with an older man with debt for dad. But yeah, sometimes that's what it does. Like finding a male therapist who is like a guy and older, like maybe that can help you come to terms with some of the stuff that we have going on.
Yeah. So
we got a couple minutes. So.
Okay, cool. I was just gonna say that is just that. I think that's I kind of lost my train of thought, but with Randy's somebody we had on the podcast as well. That was like another like kind of male who like was like present. So no, the daddy issues I make a joke of. This is what I was gonna say. I use humor a lot, right? Yeah. And I recognize humor is a really like a guard. It protects me. It's a mask. It's when I feel uncomfortable, I'll use humor to get maybe my foot in the door with somebody.
Yeah, it's easy to connect.
Yeah, but no, there's no question about it. Like the father issues, they tie into my abandonment issues, which is still a big like prophecy of why I'm still like the self-loathing and the negative self-worth. So like, and I know those are things that I still am a work in progress with. So
yeah, I appreciate you sharing that, like that part of you with me, dude, because it kind of goes in line, right? Today was the first time we started talking about our mission, right? Like authentic, real, honest, safe conversations. And I feel like I have those with you outside of this podcast. It's kind of nice for us to be able to have them on the show to just show people what that looks like. So, yeah. We got a minute, Jesse. Is there any final thoughts that you have in our session today?
Just that this is the time of year I get coconut cream pie. It's July. It's when it happens. So
you gotta take me out to get some, bro. Like,
you know, but here's the thing: it's super generic. It's like the Marie Callender's, like frozen. It's like I know people are like, why don't you go get like a really nice one? I'm like, no,
Yogurtland.
But yeah. So no, man. I think this is one of many conversations to come, and this is how it works, right? In therapy, right? Is you put a timestamp on it.
Your time's up. Your time's up.
That's right. So the countdown's on, but. Yeah, I think this is almost a perfect time to end it for us this week. So.
Well, that's our time, and see you next week.